Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to discuss about how to consume the second logic app into main logic app. So whatever the task today I will explain first. Okay, for example in real time scenario, you have the two types of logic apps. One is the main logic app and the second one is the that is the purpose of retrieving the data from the particular source location. Okay, so you want to consume that second logic app, secondary logic app into the main logic app. So how to do that? So I will explain. And second thing, how to connect logic app with the Azure APIM. So basically if you want to communicate with the APIM, so it comes under the production. Okay, so how to protect the logic app with the Azure APIM, so that will also I will explain. Okay, so finally I will test the logic app with the Postman. Okay, so how to do that? First of all, we will concentrate on the secondary logic app. Second logic app. Okay, the second logic app is especially for retrieving the data. Okay, retrieving data from particular source location. Okay, so after that you need to connect this secondary logic app to APIM. Okay, step by step I will explain. Okay, this is my, so currently I'm working on the standard logic app, so I will create a flow. Okay, a stateful flow under the standard logic app. So this is a data retrieving purpose, so that's why I have given east US is the allocation. So this is the test 01. Okay, I'm going to create this one. Okay, it's created. Now go to the click on the designer. So now I'm going to choose the request. So now I will explain why I'm going to choose the why I'm choosing the request. Okay, request connector is especially for the when you make a request from the Postman, when you make a request from the another logic app, so it will trigger automatically, it will give a response. So based on your requirement. So currently the same thing I will do. Okay, so click on the request. So request body JSON. So you can give anything. Okay, category JSON. Mm-hmm. Categories. Okay, let me do one thing. Okay, this is the body I'm going to paste over here. Okay, just give them JSON payload and done. Okay, now it's completed. I'm going to save. So you can give any data, a reasonable data you can give anything. Okay, so this request you can use as a post method or the get method, anything you can use. Okay, but just remember this is especially for the triggering purpose. Okay, when you make a request it automatically trigger and it will give a response. So later, so once you make a request from the Postman or the anything or the another logic app, so after that it should trigger the data and retrieve the data from the particular source location. So already I have the a source location, that is the storage, Azure storage. I'm going to retrieve the data from the particular location. Okay, click on that Azure. Meanwhile, I will open that and I will show the location where I have stored the data. Logic app. Sorry. Storage account. File storage. File shares. You can store the data in containers, but I stored in file shares. Product data. Okay. So I have stored the data in this location. Okay. Product data. Just remember the test 01 US 144. This is a file storage. Get file content and specify the target location here. Navigate the target location. Site. Product data. Category JSON. Okay. Now just click on save. Okay. Now create a response. RBSPON. So what's happening? Okay. File content. Sorry, sometimes when I even when I click multiple times, so it's not clicking. So sorry for that. Take the response connectors. So when you make a request from a Postman or the another logic app, so it will trigger and it will retrieve the data from the particular source location and it will return the response. Okay, what is the response? The incoming file. Okay, let me save this file and I will test it through Postman. Okay, now it's saved. Let me trigger this. See, the file has been retrieved, but the response, there is no response because we have not given any input. So you need to provide some input. For that, I will test it through Postman. Okay, this is the control V. Okay, and whatever the input data. So already this is the input data. Control C. 40. So currently we are not using any APIM, so that's why I turned off this. Okay, let me send this. See, 200 OK request, we got that. So let me check in logic app whether it's triggered or not. So once you make a request, it automatically trigger that connector and so to 842. So we will see the output. So response. Let me copy this response. Control C and Control N, Control V, Control all plugins. You can see. Okay, now you got it. Okay. So this data is comes from the storage account. Okay, not from here. Okay, this is you can give any data here. So this data comes from the storage account. So both data are same. So that's why it's reflected the same data. Okay, so you can try with any data. Now this is a bad practice. Okay, so directly communicating with a particular logic app from the postman, it's not the good practice. So that's why you need to provide the protection for your logic app. So how to do that? So we have the option feature like APIM, Azure API management. So how to connect, the second step. So how to connect our logic app with Azure APIM and how to protect logic app with the Azure APIM. So we will do this task now. Add API and click on this HTTP, manually define the HTTP. Okay, give a proper name like CATGOR category. So you need to copy and paste over your URL. Okay, just copy this. This is the secondary logic apps. I already told you this is logic apps currently I'm using for retrieving the data. Just control V. Okay, just imagine this is the main URL. Just copy up to here. Sorry, I'm unable to copy. Sorry. Copy up to here and just paste over here and create. So it's asking suffix. Okay, see. So now we have to create the front end. A backend already we have. It has been created. Now we have to create the front end. So how to do that I will show you. Go to category and add a operation. So display name, copy this remaining thing up to here. Control C and control here. Let's save this. Okay, now we will test this. See, you got the output. Simply what I have done. So just keep in mind always this URL. Okay, I will go to. Okay, when you go to the when you're working with the Azure APIM, okay, so it doesn't expose, okay, it doesn't expose backend URL, only it will change the front end URL. Only you have to use the front end URL. So that is the reason why I have split into two parts. Okay, this is the, just consider this is the main backend. Okay, up to here this is the main backend, and reminding that I have mentioned in the front end URL. Okay, so now I will show you how the front end URL looks like. See, this is the front end URL. I will show the difference. Okay. Now I hope you got it what I'm saying. You can see this is the front end URL. Okay. So after that, so it's changing. Okay. So this is a way we need to protect the logic apps. Okay, whenever any outside person, outside organization person, they want to hack the logic your logic app or anything, so they can't hack because we are providing the front end URL to the third end user. Okay, directly we are not providing the back end URL to anyone. So that is the advantage. So sometimes if you see this URL is very weird because this is very long. So to make it small, how to do that? There is a transformation rule called rewrite URL. So I will explain about this later. So If you use this transformation policy, you can make this simple. Okay, you don't need to initialize, you don't need to display these all things, all big URL to end user. Just remove this all thing and keep it as a version, and whatever you want to display, then you can follow through that rewrite policy. Okay, now we will test this application through um, Postman. So previously what I have done, simply, okay, directly we are communicating to logic apps. So all I told you, that is a bad practice. Now we will communicate the logic app with the Azure APIM. So just copy this front end URL. Okay, this is not backend, this is a front end URL. Just copy this front end URL and paste over here. Okay, now this time what you are doing, you need a OCP APIM subscription key. Okay, just copy this. If you want to provide the more security, you need to use the Azure Active Directory. Resource not found. So what happened? Okay, got it. Just I have defined wrong web here. Okay, instead of get, I mentioned post, so that's why I got error. You can see. Okay, now our first task, how to consume the. Okay, these three I have completed. Now I will concentrate on the first one again. Okay, the second logic app is created and protection we have provided with Azure APIM, and we have tested with the Postman. Now I will consume that secondary logic app into main logic app. So how to do that? I will show you. I have another logic app, so that already the flow has created. Okay, the design I have not created, just the stateful flow has created. You can see empty design. Tomorrow in real time scenarios, so you have to schedule your design. Okay, you have to schedule your job. So daily 8 o'clock or the 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock you have to schedule. So based on the timings, it's need to be trigger and retrieve the data from the secondary logic app and send the response to the some other destination location like service bus or the another logic app. So the same thing I'm doing here. Okay, service bus I'm not including here. The next session I will include that. Okay, first I will. Okay, just consider this is the main logic app. Okay, so what happened? Just go to designer. Yeah. Okay, go to the recurrence and click on this 15 hours. Okay, so after that you need to use the http, because I want to consume that logic app into in main logic apps. Okay, http. So this is a get method I'm consuming. Okay, so now what kind of, sorry, what kind of URL we have to use here? Obviously the APIM, front end APIM. So whatever the, just paste over here. Just remove this space, extra space. Okay, now you need to provide the OCP APIM subscription key, because without providing a OCP subscription key you can't consume the data from the Azure APIM. Okay, but in real time scenario what we will do, we have to provide the Azure Active Directory credentials. Okay, there is audience key, client ID, client secret, and everything you need to provide, then only you are able to communicate with the backend APIM. Otherwise you won't retrieve the data from APIM. Okay, so I will take that session after. This is the front. It seems like it looks weird, but already I told you you can use the rewrite transformation policy, and you can minimize. You can mold according to your requirement. You can change. You can beautify your URL according to your requirement. Okay. Okay. Let me refresh this. 853. 853. Okay. Let me open this. I triggered two times, so that's why it triggered. Okay. You can see the data retrieved. Okay, now I will copy this and copy control and control V decode. Okay, now we will change the data. Okay, designer, get file content. This time I'm going to give the product. Okay, again I will trigger from the main logic app. So when I trigger the main logic app, so it will go to the second logic app. The second logic app will retrieve the data from the particular source location, and it returns the response. So that response again it's back to main logic app. So how it will be retrieved? So after run success, I will show you. Let me refresh. Got succeed. Let me copy this. Control C, Control N, Control V. I hope you got it. Okay. This is a big complex JSON, so that's why it's displaying like that. Okay, this is the way we need to provide the protection, and also you need to consume the another logic app into main logic app. So this is the way you have to do in real world. Okay. So please check my previous videos. If you like, then subscribe. Okay. Thank you so much, guys.